Today, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest myths about Japanese sake, and then revealing the truth behind each one. Okay, so let's start with the biggest misconception of all. Japanese sake is rice wine. So people often call sake Japanese rice wine. And I'm here to tell you that's not exactly true, although it's convenient for an English shorthand, as John Gottner says, but sake is actually made more like beer than wine. Rice is a starch, so unlike wine where they're using grapes that already have sugar that exists for the yeast to eat and to ferment and create alcohol, rice doesn't have that. So you got to use koji to inoculate the rice and create sugars that the yeast can then eat. So it's a different process and it's more like brewing beer. Myth number 2, sake is always served hot. That's simply not true. Sake is had in a huge broad range of temperatures, and so it's not just hot. It can be cold, it can be on ice, it can be warm, it can be room temp. There's a ton of variation, and it causes a ton of flavor profile variation as well. So it causes huge differences in what the sake tastes like. So it's actually really fun to explore temperature. So no, sake is not always hot. That is incorrect. Debunked. Myth number 3, sake is super strong. So this is actually where sake and wine really align. Most sake is actually around 12 to 16% ABV. So similar to wine, higher than beer, much lower than a liquor like whiskey or vodka or gin. There is a sake category called Genshu, which is an undiluted sake, and those can be on the higher end. Still, that's like 18 to 22%. I love Genshu, it's really good. Myth number 4, all sake tastes the same. Sorry, brother, that's just not true. Let's just look at what I have here on the table. For instance, this sake, which is an aged sake, which we'll get to that in a minute, but it is aged in cedar barrels and it's wild tasting. This sake here is a Nagori, so it's cloudy, and this is just like one of a kind, very special, very delicious, and it's completely different than this guy that I just first showed you. We go over here to this guy, this Kimoto Daiginjo, completely different. And then to really have another extreme to show you this, which is another aged sake, which has been aged in red wine Burgundy barrels, Pinot Noir. And yeah, this just shocked me. And so sakes can taste totally different. Most people expect sake to taste just like rice, like plain alcohol, but that's not the case at all. Sake has a huge range of style. Think fruity, floral, dry, rich, cloudy, sparkling, and even barrel aged. You wouldn't even believe me if I told you how many crazy sakes there are. Some taste like melon or banana, and others taste like cream or umami broth. It's a huge variety. Myth number 5, sake doesn't age, you have to have it fresh. A lot of sakes pride themselves on being extremely fresh. In most sakes, you do want to have relatively fresh, and closeness to the time it was brewed is gonna taste a certain way. But there is an entire category of aged sakes called koshu. And when you age these sakes, they get flavors that develop that are sherry-like or whiskey-like, and some of the super umami flavors almost turn into like a soy sauce richness, and it's really wild to see. For instance, this bottle of Kimoto Daiginjo, I got this over 8 months ago, and it's been in my fridge, and it's sort of been changing, and the umami has evolved and gotten rich and funky, and it's just been really fun to see it change. And then this barrel from Wakazi is aged for 60 days, and it was also bottled 3 years ago. So it's really been aging and changing in this bottle. And I got this guy, he's been aged in a cedar barrel. So these things can actually age over years and they'll change a lot. And it's really fun to taste along the way. So sake can't age? Sorry, buddy, that's wrong. Debunked. So there you have it. 5 of the biggest myths about sake busted. So if one of these surprised you, hit like and follow me if you want to keep exploring sake. Love ya. Bye.